Something massive is shifting in the Bitcoin story. Right here in Las Vegas at the 2025 Bitcoin conference, we're witnessing a tectonic pivot. What used to be dismissed as a fringe movement has now become a national priority. From the main stage to the back rooms, the whispers are gone, the gloves are off, and the US government just showed us its cards.
Where Bitcoin is going is as a strategically important asset for the United States over the next decade. It's one of the reasons why President Trump, with the help of our great AI guy, David Sachs, it's one of the reasons why we started the Bitcoin Reserve, because we want to start to put in motion the strategic importance of Bitcoin for the United States government.
Let that sink in for a moment. The US Vice President on record saying Bitcoin is a critical part of US national strategy. The same country that once tried to suffocate this industry is now planning to stack sats, and aggressively. Meanwhile, David Sachs, the crypto czar, drops this.
So if we can convince Howard Lutnick, who's the Commerce Secretary, or Scott Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, to buy some, and they can figure out how to fund it, without a new tax or without adding to the debt, then maybe find the money from some other program that's not using it, then we could potentially acquire more Bitcoin.
Read between the lines. They're not asking if we should hold Bitcoin. They're debating how much we can get without affecting taxpayer dollars. And that's just now, until the Lummis bill passes. And if you don't want to read between the lines, here's what the director of the Presidential Council for Digital Assets, Sachs's right-hand man, had to say, Bo Hines.
That's why we say Bitcoin is digital gold. We make no bones about that. And I've said repeatedly, as the United States, we want as much of it as we can possibly get.
But it gets better. JD also points out,
we're ending the weaponization of federal regulations against this community. To put it simply, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is dead, and it's not coming back under the Trump administration.
That's a direct kill shot to the regulatory war that's been stopping banks, exchanges, and startups from onboarding crypto. It's a policy reversal that opens the floodgates for institutional and retail alike. And then Michael Saylor's $1 million math predicts,
when Wall Street is 10% of Bitcoin, Bitcoin will be at $1 million a coin, and that means there'll be nearly $20 trillion of not Wall Street money that will be sitting everywhere else. In the rest of the world, in the rest of whatever, right? The energy, it's impossible for anybody to take over Bitcoin in a hostile way, because the more aggressively you buy Bitcoin, the more you empower everybody else that disagrees with you.
That's the paradox of Bitcoin's game theory, and that's what makes it unstoppable. And if that wasn't enough, let's check out what the president of Pakistan had to say at the Bitcoin conference.
Today is a very historic day because today I will announce that the Pakistani government is setting up their own government-led Bitcoin strategic reserve.
There you have it. And the dominoes are starting to fall, as I always say. This is something else that was announced just yesterday, but not here at the conference. But look at this. GameStop also finally, as we've been telling you guys before, leading up to this, finally bought 4,710 Bitcoin. Unbelievable what's happening right now before our eyes. So here's the bottom line. This conference represents a regime shift, a narrative collapse, a new legacy to be born, a transfer of legitimacy from legacy systems to decentralized networks. I'm gonna break it all down, but remember this, the nation state walls just cracked open, and behind them, the last liquid Bitcoin is already being hunted. But what's happening isn't just narrative. It's data-backed, verifiable, and unfolding in real time. Because when you zoom out, a pattern starts to emerge. Not hype, not hopium. Here are 25 undeniable signals that this isn't just the start of another run. It's the makings of the most historic supply shock Bitcoin has ever seen. So I'm gonna walk you through these 25. I recorded them the other day, but this is the most relevant thing that you need to watch right now. And as soon as we're done with the 25, I'm gonna end this with a clip that literally just happened as I was recording it right now of Eric and Don Trump on stage talking about if you're too late to buy Bitcoin. You have to hear what they're gonna say. Bitcoin's gravity just went nuclear. Here's 25 rapid fire facts proving why the next leg up will be historic. US spot Bitcoin ETFs just pulled in $934.8 million in a single day, capping 7 straight days of green flows. BlackRock's Bybit now guards 651,000 Bitcoin, over 3% of all coins to ever exist, making it the world's second largest holder after Satoshi. One day this week, Bybit scooped up 4,931 Bitcoin, 10 times the 450 Bitcoin miners create every single day. Altogether, US ETFs absorbed 26,700 Bitcoin in May, already wiping out 2 months of new supply. Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, has stacked 576,000 Bitcoin, more than the coins left on Coinbase. Medical tech firm Saylor Scientific just added 455 Bitcoin, lifting its treasury to 4,264 Bitcoin. GameStop swapped meme hype for hard money, voting Bitcoin into its treasury policy. Addresses holding over 1,000 Bitcoin jumped from 1,945 to 2,006 in 60 days. Biggest whale growth of 2025. Whales and sharks, those holding 10 to 10,000 Bitcoin, net bought 83,000 Bitcoin in 30 days while retail sold. Glassnode's accumulation trend score flashed 1.0, max greed across every wallet size. Exchange balances just hit a 5-year low. The liquid pool keeps shrinking. Texas House passed SB 121 to build a Bitcoin reserve, coming from the world's 8th largest economy. New Hampshire and Arizona already signed Bitcoin reserve bills into law, live within 60 days. Oklahoma's House cleared its Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act, Senate vote next. March 6th, President Trump ordered a US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, auditing roughly 200,000 seized Bitcoin, more to come. Senator Lummis's Bitcoin Act would force the Treasury to buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years, moving in committee now. Bhutan's sovereign fund mined or stacked $600 million in Bitcoin. That is roughly 30% of its GDP. El Salvador still buys 1 Bitcoin every single day. Their stash now tops 6,000 Bitcoin, worth $670 million. The CME futures basis is back at nearly 9%, reviving the carry trade and sucking fresh arbitrage capital into spot Bitcoin buys. Routine ETF inflows now absorb 10 to 12 times the daily miner output. Structural deficit locked in. Swiss grocery giant Spar just switched on Lightning checkouts. Now you can buy bread with Bitcoin. Musk's X sealed a Visa deal. Bitcoin ready wallet coming to the Everything app. Realized cap hit an all-time 890 billion, more capital permanently parked in Bitcoin than ever before. Option traders are now bidding $300,000 Bitcoin for June calls. Moon math is now mainstream. Brazil launches Resbit and allocates 5% of sovereign reserves to Bitcoin. Almost 70 public traded companies hold Bitcoin. Adoption surges. Still waiting for a better entry? ETFs, states, corporations, whales, and even Uncle Sam are draining supply faster than miners can make it. 21 million minus everyone above equals 0 left for you. Stack wisely.
What would you tell to somebody that is saying, you know, should I buy 0.1 Bitcoin? Is a fraction of 1 Bitcoin worth it?
I think without question. Listen, I think for everyone, the second you get in it, right? Even as a student of finance and whatever it may be, once you're vested, all of a sudden you're paying attention. You're in the details. You don't have to buy 100,000, at Bitcoin. Like you buy as much as you can, whatever percent you can, and once you have that vesting, you're all of a sudden committed. You're paying attention to the details, you're understanding the game a lot more, you figure it out. I mean, people have said, hey, Bitcoin's too expensive. They said it at 1,000, they said it at 10,000, they said it at 50,000. This is a story that's pretty old right now. This has been going on for over a decade where it's too much. So, I think it's just important to get people in the game, to start understanding that, to utilize the other platforms, to be able to figure out DeFi. I think the more you do that, the more people are vested, the further away you get away from the traditional finance systems, and I think the whole community grows accordingly.
Guys, there's one other aspect about this. I mean, all of us travel all over the world. Don and I travel hundreds of thousands of miles a year. I'm telling you right now, everybody in the world wants Bitcoin. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're, royal families. I don't care if you're the biggest, financial institutions.
Are you paying attention right now?
Everybody wants Bitcoin. Everybody is buying Bitcoin. If you go back 12 months, there were probably less than 100 companies that were treasuring Bitcoin that really had any. And now every single day, it's another sovereign wealth fund. Look what GameStop just did. Look what Truth Social did. Every single day, people are allocating billions and billions of dollars to it. 0.1 Bitcoin is going to be worth an absolute fortune. And, look at the OTCs. The OTCs have the least amount.
OTCs are where people are buying Bitcoin off exchange. But listen to this.
Of Bitcoin ever on their books, right? I mean, the arrow's going straight down as the price of Bitcoin is going straight up.
Supply shock is real. I see in the comments people go, oh no, come with the supply shock theory again. Listen to this, straight from the Trump's mouth.
I've got a dear friend. He spoke on the stage before, Simon from Metaplan, and I asked him, what's the hardest problem? And he goes, honestly, we're running out of Bitcoin. It's hard to find on the exchanges. I mean, guys, everybody wants it. No one wants to get rid of it. Everybody wants it as a balance sheet item. Every family, and this isn't America. This is the entire Middle East. This is Africa. This is all of Asia. This is Fortune 500. I mean, this is the biggest private offices. Everybody wants it. No one wants to get rid of it, and it's incredibly powerful. And I think you're going to see the value skyrocket. So don't be afraid of the integer. You don't need to buy things in whole integers. You can buy things in fractions of integers. And I think that's actually how Satoshi designed the system, to actually be designed to buy in fractions of integers. We just are so early to the game that some of us have been lucky enough to buy, full Bitcoin or many full Bitcoin, but don't let that deter you from getting in there, because this is an asset, and this is an asset that is absolutely unstoppable.
This is why every single day, on every single video, I encourage you guys at the end to stack sats. Because if you find value from this video, share it with your friend, share it with your family member, share it with someone you care about, because they need to hear this message about Bitcoin before it's too late. This is not a big time horizon we're talking about. We're talking about the next few months. The next 12 months is going to make a massive difference. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.